football playoff action here on channels 5 and 30. Today we are here live at the Stutler Bowl on the campus of Cherry Creek High School for the Pueblo Central Wildcats against the Smoky Hill Buffaloes. I'm Harv Holliday, and along with me, Lee Douglas. And Lee, I think we've got a good one here.
I think so, Harv. This is two very good football teams. Central making their first appearance in a playoff game in 10 years, over 10 years actually, since 1970. They're a 7-2 ball club. Smoky Hill 9-1. They're only lost to the defending state champs, a team that hasn't lost for 2 years, and a team who won earlier here today, Cherry Creek. So I'm looking for a good matchup. A lot of people think Smoky Hill's the favorite, but Central may surprise a lot of people today.
We're about 2 minutes away from kickoff, and we'll be back with all the action after this. Playoff action. First round in the 4A playoff ranks. Pueblo Central today. Pueblo Central in the blue and white against Smoky Hill's Buffaloes. Smoky Hill, as you see, in the green and white. Smoky Hill had a great season this year, 9-1. They lost their last game to the #1 ranked team in the state, Cherry Creek. Cherry Creek is its second straight unbeaten regular season, and they won earlier here today, beating a good George Washington team, Lee.
Well, we have a few seconds, so it might be interesting to point out that the other Pueblo team involved in state playoff action is not faring too well at the present time. I believe we're right around halftime at Brighton, which is about 50, 60 miles north of us. Centennial being shut out at the present time by a very good Brighton team. The score in that one 17-0. Last night, another team for the South Central League, Wasson, started the playoffs a day early. Wasson has already advanced, so hopefully today we can see a little more representation in the second round from the South Central League.
Wasson with a 9-0 victory over Denver East last night. I don't know if that's any indication, but Central did finish up the season against Wasson and came away with a 16-15 win. We've talked about Central all week long. They had to do it in a pressure-packed situation just to make the state playoffs. They had to beat Doherty. They had to beat Wasson back-to-back weekends. They beat Doherty in Pueblo 19-9, then went up to Wasson Stadium at Wasson, Garyberry Stadium, to beat the Wasson T-Birds 16-15. And the Wildcats, according to their coach Jim Paul, just seem to play better in these big ball games.
When their backs are to the wall, I guess. The interesting part about those two games previous and the game today is every time they were playing a must-win situation, it was against the 5th-ranked team in the state. Doherty was number 5 when Central beat them. Wasson was number 5 when Central beat them. Well, now Smoky Hill is rated number 5. Central has also made the ratings. According to the people that figure out that sort of thing, Central is number 8 in the state. Smoky Hill number 5. They're shaking hands. We're going to have the coin toss right now, I believe, Art.
Captain's out in the center of the field for the Wildcats. Number 44 is Mike Krasovic, who's a fullback and a linebacker for these Wildcats. And number 61 is Joe Douglas, who's a guard, also a linebacker, does play a little nose guard also for the Wildcats. And we're about ready to get this thing underway.
Should be a good ball game. I think we'll see a lot of rushing in this. Krasovic is one of the keys, no doubt, to that Central offense. 166 times he's touched the ball this year, and he's had a 1,000-yard year, 1,186 yards. And you're talking high school ball. Central's only played 9 games this year to have 1,000 yards. There's nothing wrong with that. Smoky Hill has 3 fine runners. Ken Stokes averages 10.6 every time he touches the ball. Jeff Nobbenshoe also has a good average of 5.5, but Nobbenshoe's forte may be the punt returns, Harv. He leads the state. He averages an almost unheard of 24.5 yards every time on a punt return. That might be something to look forward to today.
And you saw the coin toss. Smoky Hill has won that toss and will be receiving to start this game. Central Wildcats will be kicking off. And we might want to mention that here at Cherry Creek at the Stutler Bowl, we have an AstroTurf field. It'll be the first time that Central has played on AstroTurf this year. They practice at the University of Southern Colorado Wednesday and Friday this week, getting used to the turf. We'll have to see what kind of an advantage it will be for either team. I would think with Central's overall team speed, it might be an advantage for them.
It certainly might, Harv. AstroTurf generally in that situation is an advantage. Disadvantage, obviously, they've never played on it before. Parents had to come up with money this week to get enough money to buy some special shoes, because your average spikes will not work on a field like this. So that could be a crucial part of the game, although I don't think so.
Chris Hackforth is the kicker for the Central Wildcats, number 74. He's a big one, 6'6½", 250 pounds. Also plays left tackle for these Wildcats. And for the Smoky Hill Buffaloes, back deep to receive this kickoff, number 34, that is Kenny Stokes, and he is the man you're going to have to watch along with Nabenshoe, number 21. Hackworth's kickoff, and we are underway. It is high, it is short, off to the right. It goes out of bounds. We see the flag, and we'll have to kick it over and start things again.
There's already some hard hitting going on out there on a kickoff that goes out of bounds. Harv, a couple of tough shots on both Central and Smoky Hill's part, so you know these two teams are fired up for this one.
Coach Paul told me earlier in the week, despite all the offensive stats that both teams have, he expected a low-scoring, hard-hitting defensive struggle. Well, we will not have a re-kick. Smoky Hill will take the ball from their own 40-yard line, starting 1st and 10.
That is the rule in high school, Harv. They bring it out to the 40 instead of re-kicking.
And they've got a full house backfield behind their quarterback, Brad Kofid. Kofid hands off immediately to Stokes around the right side, and Stokes may be gone. He's got a man to beat, and Stokes is gone 60 yards for a touchdown on the opening play from scrimmage.
Oh, my goodness. I'm not sure we were expecting those kind of fireworks. Stokes, the guy I talked about, he only carried the ball 48 times, but has over 500 yards with an average of 10.6, and that was even better than that. Mike Mestis, who backs up Beck at quarterback, also plays safety for Central. The only man that had a shot at Stokes once he got past the line. And, boy, that's a quick way to get on the board for Smoky Hill.
Kenny Stokes going 60 yards. First play from scrimmage. Smoky Hill leading this ball game 6-0. There are 10 seconds gone in the game. In to attempt the extra point for Smoky Hill is number 12, Greg Wilson. Wilson's kick is good, and it's a 7-0 ball game with 11:50 remaining in the first quarter.
Only took 10 seconds, Harv. One play, 60 yards. The extra point just barely made it over the upright, but it doesn't matter how it goes over as long as it goes through. We're 7-0, Smoky Hill on top of Central, and we'll be back with more action right after this.
We are back at Cherry Creek High School, where Smoky Hill has already taken a 7-0 lead over the Central Wildcats. Central about to take possession for the first time in this ball game. There's the kickoff back deep. Is Krasovic 44 and Chandler 35. That's Krasovic at his own 5. He's up to the 15, to the 20. He's hit about the 22-yard line, and Central will start 1st and 10 from there.
Well, we'll see if Central can start as quick as Smoky Hill started the last time they had the ball. Central has a lot of weapons, Harv. Their main running back, as we mentioned, Mike Krasovic, a 1,000-yard year this year, but they also have James Chandler back in the backfield. He's thrown a pass this year. Quarterback is number 7, Brad Beck. And right now, why don't we take a look at that last, or we're going to take a look at the kickoff is what we're going to look at, and that's Chandler with the ball, I do believe.
Mike Krasovic, number 44 for the Wildcats, returns to the 21-yard line. That's where they start at 1st and 10. First handoff is to Chandler. Chandler goes for about a yard, and he is stacked up at the 22-yard line. Smoky Hill fired up on defense with that lead early.
Swarming Smoky Hill defense. Terry Jones, 6 foot, 165 pounds, makes the tackle. Really not a big Smoky Hill team. Of course, high school teams aren't of the biggest in nature around in this area, but really a small high school team in comparison. But boy, they look like they're certainly a swarming defense. They've allowed a lot of yards this year, Harv, but they haven't allowed many points. They're averaging only 10.2 points per game. That's the kind of defense you need.
Coach Jim Paul sending in wide receivers to shuttle the plays in and out for his Wildcats. He splits Chandler out wide left, and Massett is out wide right. Backs are in the eye behind Beck. Beck with a fake. He wants to throw the ball. He's looking for Massett on the sideline. Massett makes a catch, and he may have been ruled out of bounds. We'll have to see what the official comes up with. Apparently, he was out of bounds. I'll call it an incompletion.
Brad Beck, senior quarterback. He's been around a long time for this Central High School club. 189 pounds, and he is a senior. He also punts the ball for the Wildcats. His coach Jim Paul on the sideline sends the next play in.
Greg Krasovic, number 88, into the game, bringing the call from Coach Paul to his quarterback, Brad Beck. And it is 3rd down and 8 yards to go for the Central Wildcats. He splits Greg Leba out wide right this time. Massett is out wide left. Backs in the eye. There's a handoff to the first man through. That's Krasovic. He breaks 2 tackles across the 35 up to the 40-yard line, to the 44-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats.
Jim Vavra brings down Mike Krasovic. Vavra plays both ways. He's also the starting split in for Smoky Hill. You can see that Central does have a little speed in fullback Krasovic. Here it is, the handoff from Beck. Just a simple handoff right up the middle. He breaks the first tackle, and Krasovic with a nice 21-yard gain. Needed one more block, and he may have been gone for a lot more, Harv.
Well, we talked about a defensive struggle. It has not shown itself so far. Central Wildcats are 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line. Still 10 minutes left in this first quarter. Smoky Hill is up 7-0. Chandler split wide left this time for Beck, and Massett is wide right. There's a fake. Beck still has the ball. He is going long, looking for Massett. Massett has a shot at it, but it's intercepted by number 24. That's Brian Britton for the Smoky Hill Buffaloes, and they've got the ball now inside their own 20.
Well, it's almost as good as a punt. Massett was open, but the pass was floated up just a little bit too high, and that's why the interception came about. So in their first possession from scrimmage, Smoky Hill allows a lot of yards for Central, but Central comes away with nothing, and Smoky Hill takes over once again.
Smoky Hill leading 7-0 here early in the first quarter, and they've got the ball now at their, let's mark it at the 9-yard line, call it 1st and 10 for the Buffaloes. And they have two backs now behind Kofit, the quarterback. Kofit is number 18. He's got some good stats on the year. Hand off to the fullback, first man through, and he may have gotten a yard.
Yard at the most, Harv. Didn't have time the last time Smoky Hill had the ball to set the offense. We'll do it for you this time. Their split end is Jim Barbara. He's the one that made the interception just a few moments ago. That quarterback, as you mentioned, is Brad Kofet. They had three fine running backs in the backfield. Ken Stokes, halfback, 5'11", 178, a senior. The other halfback, Jeff Nobbenshoe. We haven't heard from him, but he's a good one. 5'11", 171. He's only a junior. And Jeff Beatty, 5'10", a senior at 195.
Referees are taking a timeout. There's 9 minutes, 10 seconds here left in the first quarter. Smoky Hill leading Central 7-0. And Smoky Hill, after a gain of 1 on the last carry, has a 2nd and 9. And they're at their own 10-yard line. Kofit out of the pro set, pitches to his back number 21, Jeff Nabenshoe. And Nabenshoe around the outside, but he didn't get much. Give him a gain of about 3.
I believe Mike Mestis was the first one to hit him, trip him up, brings him down well short of the first down marker. It's going to bring up, we're going to call it 3rd, and it's kind of hard to tell from our vantage point, but it looks like 3rd and maybe 5.
3rd down and 5. First time Smoky Hill has faced a 3rd down situation in the ball game. Number 14 is Randy Kleiner. He is split out wide left for the Buffaloes. Kofit, the quarterback. Full house backfield now for the Buffaloes. There's a handoff inside. No, that's the fake. Kofit fakes us out and passes to Kenny Stokes. And Stokes has the first down. He's up to about the 26-yard line.
And that's Mestis who makes the tackle for Central. Mestis is all over the field today, and we're going to take a look at that one more time. Kind of a different offensive look as we look at it from the end zone. Quarterback Kofed with the fake up the middle. It was a full house backfield, as Harv mentioned. And Stokes, who he's throwing to out of the backfield, I think many of the passes by Kofed today will be to his backs out of the backfield. Mestis there for the tackle this time.
Isolated Stokes that time one-on-one. He got the first down. Call it 1st and 10. Ball spotted now at the 26-yard line of Smoky Hill. Full house backfield. There's the second man through, and to the 30-yard line, maybe the 31. That's Nabenshoe, and a good pickup. Gain of about 4 or 5 on that.
Mike Mestis, once again, Harv on the tackle. It's we mentioned this a lot when we've done our Air Force football games earlier this year. Coaches do not like to see defensive backs on the tackle. That means they're getting through the front 4, and then they're getting through the linebackers. And Mestis has been forced to make a lot of tackles today. He also missed that tackle for the long gain on the touchdown.
Give Nabenshoe 4 on that carry. Call it a 2nd down and 6. Ball now at the Smoky Hill 31-yard line. Only 2 backs behind Kofit this time. And he fakes it. Kofit is a magician with that ball, throwing to his tight end, who drops it at the 41-yard line. Incompletion. Bring up a 3rd down and 6 for Smoky Hill.
And Mike Mestis on the coverage once again for the Central Wildcats. This Mestis kid is all over the place, Harv. We'll take a look at it on the replay from the end zone shot. I really don't think Kofed had anybody to throw to really that time. Mestis had good coverage. The pass was just a little in front of his receiver. Incomplete, and we're going to have another 3rd down, 3rd and 6 this time around.
7 minutes, 23 seconds remaining first quarter. It's Smoky Hill scored first play from scrimmage. They lead Central 7-0. Kofit this time to the second man, Stokes, and Stokes is wrapped up in the backfield behind the line of scrimmage, and Smoky Hill's going to have to punt it.
John Rodriguez on the tackle for Central. He's a 165-pound linebacker, a senior, also plays guard in offense, and that's something you see a lot of in high school. Don't see it in college and the pros anymore, but a lot of these high school kids, especially on this Central team, will play both ways, Art.
And James Chandler, number 35, is back deep for the Wildcats. He's the return man, and Smoky Hill will be punting from inside its 15-yard line. Left-footed kicker gets it away. Chandler calls for the fair catch. He backtracks to the 30, and he did call for the fair catch. That's where the Central Wildcats will start 1st and 10, trailing 7-0.
Although I thought he had a good chance, Harv, to return that. That was more of a line drive type punt. But the Central Wildcats take it over for the 2nd time of the ball game.
And we'll be back with Central's 2nd possession right after this. Central Wildcats first and 10 from their 31-yard line. They're trailing 7-0. We've got 6:46 remaining here in the first quarter. Central shows us a full house backfield this time. Beck goes to Leyba, and Leyba gets about a yard, maybe 2 on the carry, and it'll be second and long for the Cats.
Greg Leyba, one of the top rushers for Central this year. He stands third in the rushing stats for the Wildcats going into this one. 49 carries, 323 yards with an average of 6.8 yards per carry. Not bad at all. He scored 3 touchdowns rushing this year, but you'll also see Greg Leyba catch a lot of passes.
Leyba with 2 on the last carry. We'll call it 2nd and 8 ball now at the Wildcat 33. Got a new set for the Wildcats. Chandler in motion behind Beck this time. Beck on the option, pitches to Krasovic. Krasovic across the 45, up near midfield to about the 48-yard line, and looks like he just slipped and lost his footing on that turf.
I think so, Harv, and unfortunately for Central, Mike Krasovic is limping a little bit. Hopefully it's an equipment problem and not any injury. We'll take a look at it on the replay. Here's Brad Beck, a la Marty Louthan, maybe. Mike Krasovic has a huge hole on the right side. Good blocking by that Central line. There, one tackle misses him, and nobody was there to bring Krasovic down. He just tripped himself up, and he's still on the field, Harv. 2 carries for Krasovic today, 37 yards, and this would be a monumental injury if Mike Krasovic were to go out of this ball game at this point.
He is a bulk of the Central offensive attack. Looked like he may have wrenched a knee when he tried to make a cut on this AstroTurf. We mentioned before the game started, Central has not played on AstroTurf. They've practiced on the AstroTurf, but have not actually been out there taking those full-speed cuts.
And it certainly makes a difference. I've talked to several players that play on AstroTurf, that normally play on grass, and it makes a big difference. It really does. If you're not used to it, and most high school teams obviously aren't used to it, I believe, this is unofficial, but I believe that it is the only AstroTurf high school stadium in the state. We'll take a look at it again, see if we can pick out exactly what happened to Krasovic. Has to be somewhere below the knee. At least it isn't a knee injury. Looks like he twisted the ankle or somewhat, and at least hopefully it's not a knee injury anyway, Harv.
Krasovic is still down on the field. We're early in the first quarter, 6 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. Smoky Hill with that blast in the first play from Kenny Stokes, who went 60 yards, has the 7-0 lead here. Might want to mention for the folks who are joining us late, Cherry Creek played George Washington right before this ball game. Cherry Creek is still unbeaten with a big win over GW.
And they're helping Mike Krasovic off the field, Harv, and he's not going off under his own power. He is holding his left leg up, and that's just a shame for Central. Their star ball player, there's no doubt about that. As goes Mike Krasovic, goes Central. We'll see if the rest of the guys, Brad Beck and crew, can group themselves together and put something on the board. Without that big run by Smoky Hill, these two teams have played even thus far.
22, Tino Herrera now into the game for the Wildcats. They've got a 1st and 10. Krasovic's carry was good up to about the 49-yard line. And we now have Chandler and Leyba in the backfield in the pro set behind Brad Beck. Beck goes to Chandler. He's across midfield to about the 48-yard line.
Finally brought down for Smoky Hill by Fred Hecht. He's a 6'2", 220-pound tackle for Smoky Hill. Mike Krasovic out of the ball game once again, so we'll have to see what other kind of weapons the Central Wildcats can come up with, and we certainly don't want you to think that Central is a one-man team. They're by far not a one-man team. They have plenty of weapons, but when your key weapons, one of your key weapons goes out, it certainly hurts the rest of your ball game.
And they're still going to go with Leyba and Chandler probably as the workhorse in the backfield. Massett is split out wide left. And there is Beck with the handoff to the first man through. And Leyba is stacked up right about the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd and probably 7 for the Cats.
Tom Erlinson brings down the Central ball carrier on that particular play. We'll take a look at it here on the replay. There's Brad Beck with just 2 men in the backfield. Beck is really a good quarterback. He's shown us that he can make some fakes. He also has a pretty good throwing arm. That turns into nothing, however, and it's a 3rd and 6, crucial 3rd and 6 for Central.
Beck's only attempted 1 pass. That was an incompletion to Massett on the sidelines. He may have to throw now. Give it a 3rd and 6. They're going to give Leyba 1 yard on that last carry. And the Wildcats are in their passing formation. Beck drops straight back, looks to the side, can't find anybody. He's across the 45 to the 40-yard line, inside the 40 to the 35, and he breaks another tackle down to the 20. Brad Beck with a great run inside the 25-yard line of Smoky Hill. Another 1st and 10 for the Wildcats.
Credit Greg Leyba, who was also in the backfield in that passing formation, for one of the key blocks to spring quarterback Brad Beck, and we should be able to see it here on the replay. It was a nice 23-yard run by Brad Beck. He's getting plenty of time to throw the ball. There's no question about that. Obviously, his receivers are covered. There is the block by Leyba, and Brad Beck kind of carrying the football in a dangerous situation. is able to pick up some good yardage, and the Wildcats are on the move, Harv.
1st and 10. Let's spot the ball at the 29-yard line of Smoky Hill. Beck with Leyva and Chandler behind him now. And Beck wants to throw it again to his tight end. It is tipped at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. 2nd and 10 for the Cats. 3:53 remaining here in the first quarter.
Well, the receiver was open, Harv. It was just not the best pass in the world. He was going for Greg Krasavic. Yes, same name, same family. Greg's the brother of Mike Krasavic. Beck in the ball game thus far has only thrown 3 times. As Jim Paul, I think a worried Jim Paul right now, looks on. He's thrown the ball 3 times, hasn't completed any, and has 1 interception.
2nd and 10 for the Cats after that incompletion. Ball is on the Smoky Hill 25-yard line. Backs in the eye. Chandler and Leyva behind Brad Beck. There's first man through is Leyva, and Leyva gets about a yard, maybe 2.
We'll have to see where they mark it. Very little gain that time for Central. I think they're going to call it no gain. Well, they're going to give him 2 yards. Bring up a 3rd and 8 situation.
First time the Central Cats have been on Smoky Hill's side of the field. 3 minutes, 30 seconds in this first quarter. And Smoky Hill jumped on top early. First play from scrimmage for a 7-0 lead over the Cats. 3rd down, 8 yards to go. This time Tino Herrera is split out wide right, and Massett is out wide left. Backs in the pro set behind Beck. Beck wants to throw. And he's looking for Chandler out of the backfield, threw it behind him. That'll bring up a 4th down, and now we'll have to see what Coach Paul wants to do.
The interesting decision whether he wants to get on the board, whether he has enough confidence that he can get the field goal or not, or if he wants to stay in there and try to pick up the 1st down in a 4th and 8 situation. They're deep in Smoky Hill territory, about the 22-yard line, and I believe there's no decision for Coach Jim Paul. They're going for the 1st down.
And one thing we might want to mention, Mike Krasavic, who's out of the game, is also the place kicker for the Central Wildcats. That's probably why they're not going for the field goal. It's 4th and 8. Backs in the eye behind Beck. Massett and Herrera are split out wide. Beck still got the ball. Great fake. He's still looking. He throws, but Massett has been pushed out of bounds about the 5-yard line. Didn't have a chance to come back and get that one.
They'll call that incomplete. Smoky Hill will take over. 1st and 10 on about the 22, their own 22-yard line. You mentioned that Krasavic's the kicker. That's going to be a problem. Well, Krasavic's also a starting linebacker on this Central Ball Club, so that will also be a problem. They do rest him a little bit on defense, so they have a bit of a different defensive setup when Krasavic's out of the ball game.
And it looks like we have got a timeout on the field. 3:03 remaining here in the first quarter. Smoky Hill 7, Central nothing. We'll be back with the rest of this first quarter of state high school football playoff action after this. And you're watching Mike Krasavic, who is on the sidelines. He was taken out. He's got his foot wrapped. That's his left foot. Talking with one of the Central's assistant coaches, Pat Janetta, who is one of the great backs in Central Wildcat history. 3 minutes, 3 seconds remaining. Smoky Hill 1st and 10. The ball is about their 25-yard line. And second man through is Jeff Nabenshoe for the Buffaloes. Nabenshoe takes it out to about the 28-yard line, but we've got a flag on the field.
First flag of the ball game. They're going to call that one back. Holding against Smoky Hill.
Big call and big yardage for the Wildcats. Smoky Hill will be marched back deep into their own territory. We are under the 3-minute mark in this first quarter.
Needless to say, the Central fans like that. I'd like to point out that there is a huge contingent of Central High School fans. Came the distance from Pueblo, Colorado today to see this ball game. A lot of people from Central here, and really not that many on the other end of the field for Smoky Hill, Harv.
I think we may have a bigger contingent from Central than we do from Smoky Hill. We are on the campus of Cherry Creek High School. Smoky Hill is just up the road. They're in the school district.
They do share this football stadium with Smoky Hill during the year.
First down.
Is that a clipping call, I believe?
Holding.
Holding.
Offense. First down.
Holding has put the ball back to about the, mark it at the 13, 14-yard line. First down and 20 to go for Smoky Hill. Their quarterback is Brad Kofod, number 18. He, with a great fake up the middle, Kofi hands off to Kenny Stokes again. No, that's Jeff Beatty, the fullback, who has got the ball all the way to the 37, 38-yard line, and that will be a 1st and 10 on a 1st and 20 call.
We'll take a look at it on the replay and watch number 22, Tino Herrera, on the end of this play. Makes a touchdown saving tackle for Central. He just burst up the middle and had a lot of running room. About this time, Tino Herrera should come into your picture. and Herrera makes what I think is a touchdown-saving tackle in that instance.
Beatty with over 20, and they carry 1st and 10 now for Smoky Hill. This time with the ball is Jeff Nabenshoe. Nabenshoe's crossed the 40 to about the 43-yard line.
Jerry Imes, nose guard of this Wildcat ball club, makes the first hit and brings Nabenshoe down for the tackle, but not before he gets to the 43-yard line. He's going to bring up a 2nd and 5. And Smoky Hill, no doubt about it, they are a running ball club this year, Harv. 243 attempts, nearly 1,500 yards. That's an average, a team average of 6.1 per carry.
Nabenshoe with 5 on the last carry. Call it 2nd and 5 for the Buffaloes. There's the pitch, and that's Ken Stokes. And Stokes is stacked up by Central's Greg Romero. Greg Romero, we might want to mention, has been out 6 games this year with a knee problem. He has just been back for the last 2 ball games, just saw limited appearances, and he's going to get a lot of action today.
He also sees action in the offensive backfield. He's a fullback, Harv. 102 yards rushing for Smoky Hill thus far in the ball game.
We still have a minute 35 in this first quarter. It's a 3rd down and 2 call for the Buffaloes. They are just across their own 45-yard line now. With a slot to the right, they've got 2 backs in the pro set behind Kofi. And that is Stokes, who's up to midfield, and probably enough for the 1st and 10.
John Rodriguez makes the tackle, linebacker for Central. He's a 165-pound senior. That is a 1st down, 1st and 10. Smoky Hill on the move in midfield as time moves on here in this first quarter. Almost about a minute to go now.
Smoky Hill leading the Central Wildcats 7-0. 1st and 10 right at midfield. And Kofod keeps it on the ground again, down to the 45 of Central. And the Buffaloes have 5 more yards.
That's Greg Romero who makes the tackle for the Central Wildcats that time. And I think it's obvious that Coach Jim Paul is going to have to make a few counter moves here. If Smoky Hill can control the ball and pick up 5 and 6 yards a chunk, it's going to be a long afternoon, I believe, for Central.
Jeff Beatty on the last carry with 5 yards. Call it 2nd and 5, and we're at the Central 45-yard line. 30 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Smoky Hill leading Central 7-0. And Kofod wants to throw for a change. Goes out to his right, and he's got a man, number 26, for the Smoky Hill Buffaloes is Jim Vavra.
Jim Vavra, also the man that came up with that key interception of the Brad Beck pass, and that is yet another 1st down for Smoky Hill. It's been kind of a strange seesaw season for the Central Wildcats. Before the season started, everybody predicted this club maybe to be undefeated. They had a lot of boys that's played together for a long time and back. Had a few problems. In fact, they lost to a Whitefield club they never should have lost to, but then with their backs to the wall, they made it to the playoffs. 1st and 10, Smoky Hill from the Central 34-yard line. Kofod hands off immediately, and there's the great tackle by Greg Romero. Greg Romero in that Smoky Hill backfield, a loss of probably 2. That ball carrier had the number of 64, Harv, and that's usually not the kind of person that would carry the ball. He's a tackle, Joe Budnick, a tackle, and that's a play you're not going to see very often.
Let's hope we don't see it too much more this afternoon. Loss of 2. I doubt if Smoky Hill will go to that carry much more. You see it, that's the end of the first quarter. Our situation, Smoky Hill 7, Pueblo Central nothing, and we'll be back with the second quarter of action after this. Back for the second quarter of Central and Smoky Hill, 7-0 Smoky Hill, and they've turned on the lights here at the Stepner Bowl in the middle of the afternoon.
By the way, Harv, I want to mention that Littleton has an AstroTurf field, so there are 2 high schools in the state that play on AstroTurf. We credit some of the boys in the press box for that.
2nd and 12 for the Buffaloes. On the counter, 21 is Jeff Nabenshoe. Nabenshoe is down to about the 30-yard line.
It's going to bring up a 3rd down, 2nd and 12 on that situation. Still going to bring up a 3rd down, but 3rd and we'll call it about 5. Some of the first quarter highlights. Kofod passing, only threw it 3 times, completed twice for 24 yards. But the key, I guess, Smoky Hill had 108 yards rushing in the ball game. Time of possession almost equal, 6:03 for Smoky Hill, 5:57 for Central. The 2 keys, the big touchdown run by Stokes and the injury to Mike Crassadin.
That's right. 3rd down and 6 call now at the 29-yard line of the Wildcats. Smoky Hill with the ball. Kofod on the counter to Stokes, and Stokes is inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line.
They needed 6. They made that a 3rd and 6 call, so it will be close. It's kind of hard to tell from our vantage point. Not close at all, according to the officials. That is a 1st and 10 while we have a few moments, Harv. Another score from Brighton. Not a good one for the folks watching back in Pueblo. Brighton leading the Centennial Bulldogs 23-0. That's a 4th quarter score. Central hadn't been to the playoffs in 13 years. Well, it's been about 20 for Centennial.
1963 was the last time the Bulldogs were in the ballgame. Last time Bulldogs were in the state playoff ballgame.
Jim Grieve was coaching the Bulldogs back then. He's still assistant coach to Tom Brockman.
Pops Grieve still one of the assistants on that staff, and they are just up the road, as you mentioned, and apparently that Brighton Bulldog Club is a pretty good ball club.
It didn't take them long at all. I listened to the first part of the ball game, Harv, and they just drove it right down the field on Central.
Call it 1st and 10 now for Smoky Hill. Kofod wants to throw to his back out of the backfield, and he is dragged down behind the line of scrimmage by Sean Thies.
Let's take a look at it on the replay, Harv. That was really a lateral, it looks to me anyway, like a backward pass. So had he not caught the ball, he certainly would have had to pick it up. It would have been a fumble. What a beautiful tackle that was, however, and the Central defense is going to have to do more of that to control this ball game. They'll call that no gain, although I do believe he lost a few on that. Bring up a 2nd and 10.
2nd and 10, Dave DeColati with that last reception. This time to his fullback, Beatty. Beatty is inside the 20 to about the 18-yard line.
My goodness, Beatty just drove John Rodriguez backwards. Rodriguez hit him very quick, but that speed and the movement and the strength of Beatty just forced him back for a good pickup of 5 yards. So another 3rd down situation for Smoky Hill. This one 3rd and 5. Most all of this ball game, Smoky Hill has been able to pick up those 3rd down plays.
And they're now at the Wildcat 17-yard line. We're in the 2nd quarter. It's 7-0 Smoky Hill. 9 minutes, 50 seconds remaining before halftime. For 18, that's Brad Kofod in full house backfield again for the Buffaloes. Good handoff that time to Stokes. Stokes around the 15 to the 14-yard line. And I believe he's just short of that 1st and 10.
We're going to take a look at it one more time. I agree, Harvey is short, maybe a couple of yards, so we might see 3 try here for Smoky Hill. We'll take a look at it. He had good blocking, but Central was up there pursuing, and they've been able to control the end run. It's those counter plays and those quick busts up the middle that the Wildcats are having a little bit of trouble handling.
And apparently they're going to go for it on a 4th and 1 call. Ball is inside the Central 15-yard line. And Kofod goes up the middle with the ball, and that is the 1st and 10 for the Buffaloes now, and they're deep in Wildcat territory.
Greg Romero makes the stop for Central. Almost no gain, but at least they picked up the yard, and that's all Smoky Hill needed. So the Smoky Hill Buffaloes on a drive here this afternoon. We're in, I guess this is Inglewood, Colorado, or the Sutler Bowl on the campus, or at least the Cherry Creek High School area.
And it is, I guess we're going to have to call it 1st and goal. Ball is spotted right at the 10-yard line for Smoky Hill. 8 minutes, 40 seconds remaining here in the 2nd quarter. Kofod wants to throw for it. And to his back out of the backfield was Nobbenshoe. Nobbenshoe with the reception down to about the 5.
Smoky Hill, as we take a look at the replay, Harv, has had 5 first downs in this drive, 15 plays. This is a picture-perfect drive for any coach that likes ball control, and I think most coaches like ball control. Smoky Hill struck early on the Central Wildcats with that big run by Stokes on the very first play from scrimmage. This is more of a ball control drive. It's 2nd and 6, and they may be able to pick up a 1st down.
Oh, great tackle in the backfield. Nobbenshoe is halted for a loss. Greg Romero in there again.
That was Greg Romero. He's been all over the place this time. Earlier, it was Mike Mestis for the Wildcats in making all the tackles. Now Romero's all over the place. The way they have the marker down there, Harv, it looks like it's just barely between the 1-yard line and the goal line. It's possible, I really can't tell, but it's possible they can get a 1st down without scoring.
It's 3rd and 11. They'll have to get at least inside the 1-yard line, it looks like, from here. And Kofod with the rollout to his left is throwing for it, and it's incomplete, intended for Stokes right near the goal line. James Chandler on the coverage.
Chandler, who also plays running back for Central. Like we say, a lot of these guys go both ways. breaks that one up. So a crucial defensive stand that time for Central. And this time I do believe they are going for the field goal. We'll take a look at it on the replay. Chandler is number 35. And Chandler with beautiful coverage there. Kofed knew all along who he was going to. And that was a little bit close. Sometimes you could have seen a flag on that, but not that time for Central.
They're going to spot the ball at the 18, call it a 28-yard field goal attempt for the Buffaloes. The kick is up, and it is off to the right. No good. Central's defense is held. 7:54 remaining before half. Smoky Hill 7. Central with a great defensive effort there, trailing 7-0. We'll be back with more action after this. First and 10 from their own 20 after that missed 28-yard field goal by the Buffaloes. Mike Krasovic is still on the sidelines with an injury to his left leg. He's been gone since the Central second possession of the ball game. Brad Beck this time hands off to Chandler. Chandler breaks one tackle, but still only gets about a yard and a half.
Central very fortunate that time. It's one of those situations where the defense allows a lot of yards, not many points. You mentioned Smoky Hill's defense allows an average of only 10.2 per game. Central not much worse than that, only 10.5 per game. Smoky Hill had the ball for 7 minutes and 4 seconds, 17 plays, most of those running plays, but the key stat is no points.
James Chandler this time split out wide left. He is not in the backfield. Second down and 9 for the Cats. Massett goes out wide right. And Beck wants to throw. He hits one Chandler. Chandler hit immediately at the 25-yard line and driven back. They'll probably give him forward progress, though, back to the 25 and a pickup of about 4.
Jim Vavra brings down the tackle on Mike Chandler, and Vavra was assigned, I think, specifically to Chandler. You see, as soon as Chandler catches the ball, there's Vavra on the tackle, and that's one of the keys. Mike Krasovic is out of the ball game. He's one of the keys to this offense. The defense then could take one less key out and key on a few other players, and it makes it doubly tough for Central.
Central doesn't have that big horse to go up the middle now. They've just got Chandler and Leyba, 2 quick backs, but not 2 big backs in that backfield. Out of the eye. Beck still has the ball. He's throwing long, and he's got his man inside the 48-yard line. Great catch by Greg Krasovic for the Wildcats.
Greg Krasovic went up high and just pulled in a beauty, Harv. We're going to take a look at it on the replay. It was a nice pass. Krasovic was open, but the best part of this play was the catch by Mike's younger brother, Greg Krasovic. He makes a nice move for it, and Central, the Wildcats, are now starting to knock on the door. 23-yard gain. They're almost to midfield.
They flooded the zone that time with Massett and Krasovic, and both men were open. Massett is out wide left this time behind Beck, and Beck's got his backs in the pro set. There's Leyba. Leyba breaks across 45 to the 40, down to the 36-yard line of Smoky Hill. And another first and 10 for the Cats.
And the Bulldogs starting to move. Jamie Rolls, 6 foot even, 180 pounds, brings down Leyba for the Smoky Hill Buffaloes. Here it is again. The hole is huge this time. There is nice blocking for the Central Wildcats. One key block by Joe Douglas, a guard for Central. And I tell you what, the Wildcats look like they're fired up. They have the ball on the 36-yard line, and that's the best position they've had this ball game.
6 minutes to play here in the first half. Smoky Hill 7, Central nothing, but Central with the drive going. And Beck wants to throw again. He's got Krasovic wide open. He throws behind him.
Krasovic was right there once again, Harv. It was the play-action fake that time. Beautiful fake by Beck, and the pass was just a little bit behind Krasovic. Bring up a 2nd and 10 situation for the Bulldogs. There it is. You can see Krasovic has nobody there. He would have been at least inside the 20 after that catch. Instead, it's 36-yard line and 2nd and 10 for the Wildcats.
But it does look like the Wildcats have found a few things they can do on offense. And we'll mention it again. They've lost one of their big weapons, Mike Krasovic, who is on the sidelines and is not going to play the rest of this half for sure. And Beck doesn't like what he sees. He calls a timeout. So with 6 minutes and 3 seconds remaining before halftime, Smoky Hill 7, Central nothing. We'll be back right after this. With a 2nd down and 10 call after an incompletion. Cats are on the move. They're trailing 7-0. It's been a good ball game so far. Backs in the pro set behind Brad Beck. And Beck goes to Leyba, the first man through. He's across the 35 to about the 34-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and long.
See what Coach Jim Paul is going to decide to do this time. He sends in the play from the sideline, and coming in with the play is Mike's brother, Greg Krasovic. And we want to mention one more time that even though it looks like they're getting close to field goal range, Krasovic is the field goal kicker, and that will play a big part in this ball game as well. Central in field goal range a little while earlier on a 4th and 8 play decided to go for it, and as Harv pointed out, the main reason obviously is because Krasovic is not well.
And 3 receivers out this time for the Wildcats, as Beck wants to throw for this 3rd and 7. He's got his tight end. That's Krasovic down to about the 21-yard line, maybe the 22. And that'll be a 1st and 10 for the Wildcats.
Big, crucial situation for Central that time. If Mike Krasovic can't do it, what the heck? The name's the same. The first name is a little bit different. Greg Krasovic picks up the 1st down. Another update from Brighton. Late 4th quarter now, Centennial losing by a score of 24-8, so it looks like the Bulldogs will win. It's just the wrong Bulldogs. Nevertheless, our congratulations to Coach Tom Brockman and the entire Centennial Ball Club. First time in 20 years, Centennial's gone to the playoffs.
1st and 10, Central Wildcats at the Smoky Hill 22-yard line. Beck wants to throw again. He's looking for Massett. He pumps once. Massett going deep. He's got it for a touchdown from 22 yards. Brad Beck to Steve Massett, and Central has cut into the Smoky Hill lead.
Well, Harv, we talked about Brad Beck throwing a couple of passes behind his receiver. Give Brad all the credit in the world that time. Massett broke open, but it took a picture-perfect pass, and that's exactly what number 7 came up with right there. Massett, the leading receiver on the year for Central, is right there, and what a pretty pass. Nobody could have thrown that any better, Harv.
Beautiful move by Massett on the pump fake, and Chris Hackworth is in to attempt the extra point. He does the kickoffs for the Wildcats, does not kick extra points normally. Mike Krasovic handles those, but Hackworth this time handles it, and handles it well. 4 minutes, 50 seconds remaining before halftime. Central 7, Smoky Hill 7.
Our play took 8 plays. There were 5 passing plays, 3 minutes and 4 seconds, and a nice, beautiful 80-yard drive for the Central Wildcats. And we're all knotted up at 7 apiece.
And with 4 minutes, 50 seconds remaining before halftime, we've got a great ball game, 7-7. We'll be back with more action right after this. Number 21 is Jeff Nabenshu for the Smoky Hill Buffaloes. We're knotted at 7. Hackworth kicks a line drive that Nabenshu will have trouble fielding. It is fielded by Stokes. He runs it over the 20 to the 25, and there's a flag.
Interesting kickoff, Harv. He lays the ball down flat, doesn't tee it up, doesn't have anybody hold it. He just lays it down flat. That's more for the squib kick type situation. Another big penalty, and this one will go also against Smoky Hill.
So Smoky Hill will be set back deep in their own territory. 4 minutes, 45 seconds before halftime. Score is tied at 7. There's Coach Jim Paul of the Central Wildcats. And it's a holding call against Smoky Hill on that kickoff return.
Harv, we've been blessed with beautiful weather here. I'm not sure if we've had a chance to mention it to the folks, but it was 53 degrees or something like that when we got here. The sun is shining, blue skies. There's not much of a wind blowing, and for some strange reason, they have the field lights on already.
Ball is going to be marked all the way back to the Smoky Hill 12-yard line.
Holding, number 44.
There's the call, holding against Smoky Hill. They'll start 1st and 10 from their own 12. And there's 4 minutes, 45 seconds before half. Plenty of time for both clubs.
The Buffs haven't been blessed with great field position to start their drives. The 9, the 22, and now the 12.
Full house backfield behind Kofod. Kofod goes to Stokes, and Stokes is stacked up. He may have lost a yard.
All kinds of Central Wildcats over Stokes that time. I think leading the charge for Central was number 6. Number 6, Mike Mestis, the safety, Harv, who was all over the place a little earlier in the ball game. Tell you what, the Central defense is becoming a swarming type defense. They've allowed, I think when we look at the statistics, they've allowed a lot of yards because they let Smoky Hill come on a nice drive, but they haven't allowed many points, and they're right in this one.
They're going to say he did get back to the line of scrimmage, so it's 2nd and 10. Kofod around the outside, goes to Nabenshu. Nabenshu with a lot of room up across the 40 to the 45, 46-yard line. And Smoky Hill with a big gainer has another 1st and 10.
That was almost identical, I think, Harv, to the play that broke it for the big touchdown in the first quarter, except on the other side and to the different running back to Nabenshu. We'll take a look at it once again. You could see as the play developed that it was going to get a lot of yards if they were able to get by number 89, Kurt Lytle. And they were able to do that, and he had a lot of running room. So Smoky Hill near midfield.
1st and 10, mark it at their 46-yard line, rather, of the Buffaloes. And second man through is Stokes across midfield inside the 45 to the 43 of the Wildcats.
John Rodriguez pulls down Stokes for Central, but now it looks like Smoky Hill is fired up and ready to move. That's a first down.
Another 1st and 10. The clock is stopped at 3:41 remaining before halftime. Smoky Hill's made the last two, made it look easy on this drive so far. They started at their 12-yard line.
And here it is, Harv, the run once again. They're getting good blocking by the offensive line. There, one block is broken, and finally, Rodriguez brings him down, but not before first down.
Kofod this time to Beatty inside. Beatty down to the 38-yard line of Central.
And he's going to get good yardage on first down. Whenever you can pick up anywhere between 4 and more yardage on the first down, you're getting the job done. It gives you so many more options, so many more situations you can come up with on second down. And what a running ball club Smoky Hill is. They have 3 running backs that are excellent. Ken Stokes, Jeff Beatty, and Jeff Nobenschu.
Beatty picked up 5. Call it 2nd and 5 from the Cat 38-yard line. And there's Nobenschu around the outside, had some room and just tripped up.
Mestis on the tackle once again for Central. Unofficially, Mestis by far the leading tackler in this ball game. He has been all over the place today. And we'll take a look at this one more time, all right?
There's the fake inside to Kenny Stokes. Nobenschu heads around the left side. You see he had plenty of room. He tripped over the 40-yard marker. And he's down. They call it a loss of 1, so it's 3rd and 6 now for Smoky Hill.
Nobenschu with 51, Stokes 83, and Beatty 43.
What a club. And that's Kenny Stokes, who's got some room, breaks 1 tackle, but he did not get enough for the 1st and 10. He stopped at the 36-yard line.
So now we'll see what Coach Heister and Smoky Hill decides to do. It's going to be 4th, and we'll call it 6 yards. 2:13 and counting to go here in the first half. We got a good ball game, Harv. We're all knotted up at 7 apiece.
And on the 4th and 5, looks like the Buffaloes have sent their punt unit in. James Chandler will be the receiver for the Wildcats, and he'll be inside his 10, maybe inside his 5-yard line to receive this kick. Minute 50 remaining first half. It is 7-7. Punt is high. It is angled to the left side. Hits about the 10 and bounces out. Great kick. It's going to be inside the 10-yard line.
So Central will be starting with some of that poor field position that Smoky Hill has seen thus far in the ball game. With only 1:42 to go here in the second quarter, the Wildcats are going to have to come up with a drive of well over 80 yards to come up with another 6.
And they've got 1:42 to do it. They're going to spot the ball just about the 9-yard line, maybe the 8.5. The Cats come out with Brad Beck still at quarterback. Massett is split out wide left, and Tino Herrera is wide right this time. Beck goes inside to Chandler. Chandler's got a hole, and he's across the 20 to about the 24-yard line.
Brian Britton makes the tackle on Chandler. It's a first down. That's exactly what you need when you have your backs to the wall and terrible field position inside your own 10-yard line. Kind of the counter fake. They give it to Chandler up the middle. Breaks 1 tackle, picks up some good blocking by the offensive line, and he's out for a good gain across the 20 to, they're going to call about the 25, I think, Harv.
Right around the 25-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Cats. Clock moving, 1:26 remaining here in the first half. Score is tied at 7. Backs are in the eye behind Beck this time. And he goes to the second back. That is Chandler again. Chandler not much there. He may have gotten a yard.
Tom Erlinson brings down Chandler. He's also back up split end on offense for Smoky Hill. They're going to call that a gain of, maybe a yard, bring up a 3rd and 6 situation, I believe, Art.
Second down. Second down for the Central Wildcats, and this Chandler got a little bit more than we expected. They're going to call it a gain of 4. Didn't look like he got 4.
Not even
It's only
close.
50 seconds remaining here in this first half. Oh, there's Chandler again to the right side. Chandler's across the 30-yard line. Clock is running down. I would expect that Beck would have been passing the ball, but they're keeping it on the ground.
You would have thought so, Harv. That drive for the touchdown, Beck completed 4 of 5 passes in that drive, including the touchdown pass to Massett. He threw quite a bit more than we were expecting Central to throw. Of course, Krasovic being out of the ball game may have had something to do with that. Right now, it appears that Coach Jim Paul is content to take a 7-7 tie into locker room at halftime.
There's only 12 seconds. Clock's counting down. They're going to have trouble just getting off a play here. Backs in the eye behind Beck. 6 seconds. 5 remaining before halftime. And the Cats are not going to get off another play. That's a delay of game call on Central. No, they take a timeout, but there is no time remaining on the scoreboard clock.
I'm not sure what happened. I think the clock ran out almost simultaneously with the delay of game call. I think quarterback Brad Beck was expecting the clock to run out. It didn't, so they get hit with the delay of game call. The band is starting to march out on the field, and they're saying, wait a minute, guys, you're going to have to go back. Obviously, the first half can end on a penalty against Central, and I believe I heard the public address announcer say there may be 4 seconds left.
I think they're going to reset the clock for 4 seconds, and there was no penalty. Central got a timeout call just before the flag was dropped. So they'll have one last shot. They're at the 31-yard line. It's a 3rd and 3 call. 1st and 10 is not important at this time.
Maybe a Hail Mary.
Is. Maybe one last toss from Beck to Massett to try to get things going in this first half. 7-7, Smoky Hill and Central. Central scored on a 22-yard pass from Beck to Massett, and Smoky Hill got on the board first play of the ball game. First offensive play was Kenny Stokes for 60 yards around the right side.
You really have to credit the Central defense, because since then, Harv, they have allowed a couple of big gains, but when they needed to stop Smoky Hill, they were able to do it, and you really have to credit the team, because it could be very demoralizing when you lose your star running back. Especially on a high school situation. These guys, this is the first time Central's been to the playoffs for any of the people involved here, Coach Jim Paul or any of the players on the sidelines. Could have been very demoralizing as they finally reset the clock to 4 seconds to go. I think Central deserves a lot of credit just for staying in this ball game, because when Krasovic went out, it was 7-0. Now they're tied up at 7 apiece.
This will be the last play of the first half. Central with a 3rd and 3 call. They're at their own 31-yard line. And Beck is going to throw. Well, there's a flag on the play, and it's probably going to be a holding call. Beck is across midfield and steps out of bounds about the 47-yard line, but as I mentioned, there's a flag in the Central backfield.
More problems for Central. Brad Beck is hurt, I believe, Harv. It looked like he may have been hit late as he went out of bounds. It's hard to tell from our angle here. He's getting up slowly, but he's getting up quickly. And that's a good sign for Central. I'm sure Coach Jim Paul, who's on the other side of the field, well, actually he's close to midfield right now, was a little bit worried about that situation. The flag is a holding call against Central. Our first half's over with.
First half is history. It is 7-7 Smoky Hill and Central. Been a good ball game, and it's been a dominant rushing attack by the Smoky Hill Buffaloes. Let's take one last look at that last play of the first half. You see the flag thrown probably for the holding call, and Beck heads for the sidelines. He does take, as you mentioned, a late hit and goes into a bench over there. Number 26, Vavra, pushes him into the bench.
They could have called that a late hit. He was obviously running out of bounds, and he was out of bounds before he was hit.
And 7-7 halftime is our score. Smoky Hill Central will be back with more after this.